Hello all, Alison here. Welcome back to Words and Pictures for a few minutes of fun. I thought I wanted to have a few minutes of fun with some of the weedy gel prints from a couple of weeks back. I'll link obviously to that video below so that you can take a look at how these were created, just with weeds from the garden, and one that we didn't do that day, which was some decorative grasses that were actually from my birthday bouquet a couple of weeks ago. So I'm thinking of doing maybe some freehand sketching within some of these. I'm also wondering whether I can deploy my lavender stamps to create a bit more detail in some of these open silhouettes. So yeah, I'm just going to have a bit of a play. I picked out sort of the four I really want to play with, and I've mounted those on some other card. I just used some regular gel for that, any acrylic glue, the Distress Collage medium, anything like that, a nice soft glue to just glue down some of those so that they've moved from being on the very floppy copy paper to having just a bit more stability. And you know, with these you could easily at the end of the day mount them on just a folded piece of card and create a card. With me, they're more likely to either become tags or be inserted in a journal page as a little bit of extra. But yeah, I'm just gonna maybe do a little bit of outlining, sketching. I've got some of the detailed ones here that were from Painty Prints, so they're there to give me a little bit of inspiration for what the internals might look like. Also those grasses there. And I've got various kind of watercolor markers here, picked up at various points on various offers, including some that my lovely friend in Holland had picked up very cheaply at a junk store, secondhand store, and there were doubles of some of them, so I came away with some doubles. So there might be a bit of stamping, there might be a bit of sketching, and yeah, I'm just gonna start. I'm thinking of working within sort of fairly coordinating colours. So the pens I've pulled out are fairly sort of similar in colour to what's going on here, but I have got a couple of black ones around. I've also got some pencils. Might be quite nice to just use a pencil. We'll see. I'm going to start. So actually there are still some actual grasses around that I could even use as models for what goes on in here. So the good thing about these markers, as many of you will know, is they have two ends. One end is a brush stroke end, so a slightly thicker one that might be quite good for flicking with, and the other end is a very fine end. I don't know how many of these are still in decent working order. We'll find out. Shall I start? Maybe I'll start with a stamp, because that feels like a nice warm-up way to get into things. So these are my PaperArtsy spring release lavender stamps. I'm thinking of using some of these background stamps as well. I've also got a couple of Tim Holtz sort of bitty sets that I might want to play with. So I'm gonna aim for these heads of flowers here, just to give them a bit more detailing. Let's see. I'm going to use Night Sky. It's the Wendy Vecchi Archival, and at the moment I'm not really bothering with a stamp an acrylic block, because I sort of want a looseness to these. Okay, so I'm going to need to put a stem down there. I've not aimed that quite as one might wish. I wonder if I can ink up one of these and not the other. Well, the way to do that, of course, instead of running away to get some, is a little bit of masking tape. So if I just mask up one of these heads, ink up the other, mostly looking at that bit, then I can peel that away. That one is uninked. I just have to remember which one I've inked. It's this one. And let's put that down in there. Grand. And we might do a little bit down here as well. I don't want to use the exact same one. So another way to just ink one side is to just ink one side, although I think there may have been a bit of ink left on the middle one. So let's just make sure that's not going to give us a shadow stamping. Although that might also be quite nice. Which one's inked now? That one. Let's put you in there. Good. So have I got a bluish sort of pen? Do we suppose that's an okay colour to create some stems. So I'm just going to take that in a very loose, sketchy way down from those heads. And I might create a little bit of extra. So this is really just squiggling. You can see that's just squiggling. I'm just squiggling. Nothing complicated about adding those extra heads. So again, I've used the stamp as a starting point to start practicing my own mark making. And I've got the beautiful shapes of the gel print to also give me confidence that what I'm creating has a natural organic presence. Sort of wishing I'd done those in a different colour now. So I'm doing a different kind of squiggle for those. I'm doing more of an energetic outward squiggle. I'll zoom in for the next one. Yeah. So it's just adding some detailing into what's going on there. Freehand, borrow those silhouettes. And I think I want some stamping now. So let's see. I do like this postcard stamp. So I think we might put that across the top. And now I do want a grid plate because I want that to stamp properly. I think shall I stick to the same colour or shall I do something? Let's do a brownish sort of a postcard stamp. So yeah, see, this is why I avoid zooming in, because then you miss something that I'm doing down below in the meantime. Let's go for a traditional sort of postcardy stamp right across the middle. Yeah, I do love that. Straight from a vintage postcard, of course, and I think I might put one down the side as well just while I'm here. I like the informality of that. Let's maybe put a little bit of Gothic text stamping in the background. Just roll on, roll off, and this I will do in something subtler, I think. Maybe a green. Have we got the leaf green around? Just to pick up some of these sort of bright greenish things going on. And this one, the straight side, I believe, is down the left, so that's how to get your text the right way up. And I'm just gonna add that as some detail stamping in the background. Mostly avoiding the silhouette, but I'm not awfully bothered if it goes into the silhouette. So just some little extra layers in there. I left a little extra on the bottom of each of these for now, because I thought, I don't know, I might want to stick a word on here and I might not want to cover up too much of that. So for now I'm gonna put that to one side, let that simmer. What I might want is some, oh, see, I have got this lovely lavender foliage also available here. Maybe I want to add some of that. I'm going to have a think about that for a bit. In fact, I might look at that over one of those. That it could be quite nice on that. See, now I'm going to wish I'd stuck that down. I do still have some card nearby, so I could stick that down and add some foliage stamping there. Get back in. Right, so on this one, what do we want to do? Well, we've just done one of those, so let's maybe go on to this lovely leafy one here. So there are still a couple of lavender heads around, so shall we do that? But let's not make them lavender this time. Let's make them more of a sort of grassy thing by doing them in leaf green. There's still a bit of blue on there, so that would make a nice mixed up sort of colour. But I think I quite fancy the leaf green, maybe with a bit of olive to soften it. So I'm just applying to the one head again at the moment. I'm going to take him off there. Yeah, I do like it in green actually. So that's really nice. Who knew green lavender was such a lovely thing? I think I might pretend that there's one here. So that one is a bit messy. I'm kind of fine with it, but I might go back in for a little extra detail. What else have we got here? We've got leaves, and I did pick up some printing from there. I think that's probably it on the lavender for this. What I might have a little experiment with, just wondering whether just the tips of the lavender foliage might be quite interesting to apply to some of these leaves. So it would just give me sort of a spiny look. Let's give it a go. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, eh? Might use a bit of Beach Cruiser for this. Which is a lovely turquoisey colour. Or I could, of course, also stamp it in Distress, and then if I didn't like it, I could get rid of it. I'm just gonna, yeah, it's just adding a little bit of sort of, oh hello, texture, which again I can then accentuate with some pen work. It's just saving me a bit of effort. I'm keeping it quite subtle, as you can see, because it's not quite the right shape for what's going on here. Any more leafiness? Maybe a little bit up there. So I'm sort of on secondary stampings now. Said I was going to zoom in, didn't I? I lied. Oh, maybe I can do, I don't know if anybody noticed in the previous video, I did a sneaky little zoom in edit last time so that you could see the painting of the umbellifer in the tag time. So maybe I'll do a bit of sneaky zooming in for this one as well. I think that might be enough of that. I'm really on secondary stampings now. There's hardly any ink left on the stamp. Oh, but there was on that bit. I quite like that. It's just, as I say, it's given me a, come on, focus. It's given me a starting point on the leafy texture, which is quite nice. So let's see, what have I got in the way of greens? Got this very pale green, I don't know what that's about. That's kind of that's a nice subtle one. So again, I'm just going to follow these stems. And the pattern of that 5 is beautiful. That's the Herb Robert. Thank you for everybody who dived in when I was going on and on about Robin the other day. I knew Robin wasn't quite right, but I just couldn't quite retrieve the name Herb Robert. I'm slightly perturbed to discover he's known as Stinky Robert in the US. I can't say I've ever noticed that he stinks. Maybe you just mean stinky in terms of he invades the garden. So some of these sort of bubbly shaped ones, I'm quite inclined to have a little go at creating little flower heads around here. Just something loose like that on these little round ones, and give them their own little stems. It's just creating that sort of life of the meadow when there's just so much going on. Ooh, I tell you what might be nice on here is some insect stamping. Yes, so in a minute I'm going to go and find my... So now I'm going off-piste entirely. I've gone off the silhouette to give these green lavenders their own stems, just moving through here. And a little bit more detail into that leaf, I think, and his stem. A little bit more detail into that leaf and his stem. I wonder if I do want to try and capture a little bit around the edge here. Yes, I do. See, again, you don't know until you try whether that's going to be a fun thing to do or not, but it turns out it is. So again, I'm using that print as my starting point, and just where before I was squiggling for the lavender, now I'm zigzagging. Very simple zigzag, just to get the edges of that leaf into focus. And I think there's another one here we might do a little bit on, and there's sort of one in the background here that I won't do fully because he's behind, but I will give him a bit of definition. Another one down here, zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. And one of the things I love about this is it invites you to pay attention to the shape of these leaves. So this beautiful kind of escalating shape of the 5-pronged Herb Robert. And you get to pay attention to that. You get to look at what nature is doing and give it your focus and your attention. So yeah, there's the one that's got its own leaf print, but just to tie it in, I'm just going to, I quite like all of this. That's the least successful, so I might add a little bit more to there. Just loose and soft and sketchy. So I was mentioning insects, wasn't I? Back in a sec. So here we go. Yum Scrum. Entomology. Lots of little insects. Tim Holtz stamp. Specimen. Giant insects. Just perfect for adding to botanical themed makes. They add just a joyous level of detail, scientific detail in these gorgeous things. So for all that I hate them in real life, I'm quite fond of what I think of as the mosquito stamp here. I like the stamp. I hate your actual mosquitoes. There's not much I hate in this life, but mosquitoes would be right in there. Let's go beach cruiser. Again, this is a risk. I've got lovely things going on here. I don't know how I'm going to feel about the mosquito, but he's going on. I love him. Do I want another one is the question. Yes, I do, I think is the answer. Into this beautiful space here. Very nice. Very nice. And then it's going to be again just a little bit of sort of, I think the postcard stamp might be coming out again. Let's keep him nearby because I have a feeling he's going to feature again. So the postcard stamp, this time maybe in watering can rather than, we could go in Pebble Beach. No, let's go watering can. I think Pebble Beach might be a bit too pale on that background. So we've got a great pile of stamps here now, taking up the light. Let's put that down here this time. Yes, I like that. And I'm going to go again up here across this leaf. That's very good. I'm now urgently wanting an insect here. It's going to be how to make him show up against the background. So a couple of options. I could stamp him in white paint, which might be quite nice. I could stamp him in any old colour and white emboss him, which could also be quite nice. I could stamp him and green emboss him. Or I could just stamp him in brown, because the postcard showed up, and maybe it'd be quite nice if he was hovering a little more subliminally. Let's have it tie together, stamp him in brown. And where do we want him? I think maybe next to one of the postcards. Yeah. See, and that's typical mosquito behaviour. Like, you can't quite see me, but you can hear that noise. Just that high-pitched hum as I come to suck your blood. I wouldn't mind the sucking the blood. They're welcome to suck my blood. It's just when they put in whatever it is they put in to stop my blood from flowing, that's the bit my body reacts very badly to. And I get inflamed and itchy and yucky. Right, what else have we got here? I was thinking about having a go with these, wasn't I? I'm adding some lavender foliage. Yeah, I think I might be going to glue down another 2 of these onto, I'm sure there's some leftover card. Yes, there is a bit of leftover card. Good, so I'm just going to glue these down and I'll be back to play. Okay, they're glued down, and looking at them now, I think rather than lavender foliage, what I'm quite interested in is maybe a large insect. Quite interested in maybe one of these. Kind of in here, maybe one of these kind of in here. I do love this beetle. Don't know why, he just has a presence about him that is really rather nice. And I think I'm going grey. So this is again going to be a place where I want masking tape, because I want him on the print, but I don't want him really on this white border. So I'm just going to, again, this is just DIY masking tape you get at the paint shop or the DIY shop, so that he's not going to appear on the border. He is going to appear on the printed bit. Oh no! Okay, masking tape went down too hard. Let's peel it in that direction. So you saw that happen. It happens. It's silly little bits of paper, but it's completely rescuable with a bit of glue. Just a tiny little touch of glue down under there, and we can repair that paper. There it is. No one will ever know, except us, just between us. So there he is, and with him stamped in grey, the other stamping on here is also definitely going to be grey. I do like this Specimen stamp that also comes on that same set. It's sort of similar to the postcard actually, which might be one of the reasons I like it. And I think we might put that down here. Nice. And we've got postcards going sideways and upwards, so I think we'll echo that with this. And just go down the side here. Yep, enjoying that. And maybe one more little maybe a little insect. Is there a similar to that bug? Oh, I've lost the mosquito now. See, he's gone off somewhere around the room, and he'll come back, sting me, bite me. Yeah, look, see, he'll. Or this one, that's a lovely smaller echo of this beetle. Let's pop him there. It's all right, the mosquito will turn up when I clear the desk. He'll be around. Like so. Yeah, really rather enjoying that. Okay, so what have we got so far? This needs some white spatter. It'll get some. I think it also wants a little bit of green going on within the sketching. So which green did we use? We used both the greens, didn't we? So I might just add a little bit of greenery into some of these sketches. I think that just gives us a little bit of extra detail going on. I did say that, didn't I? I said I'd wished I'd done these in a different colour. I remember now. Nothing's stopping me going back in and doing exactly that. There we go. So that just gives us a little bit of fun going on. And the other thing I might do is add a bit of... I'm wondering about adding a bit of colour into these, or do we leave them as white? I think I'll leave them for now. Don't want to get ahead of myself. What else have we got here? I'm quite inclined to go for some more green lavender, because I really enjoyed the green lavender for some reason. So where's my lavender got to? Or I could go grey lavender. Where's my Pebble Beach? I'm sure I had Pebble Beach around to play with. There's Speckled Egg as well, of course. Let's go Pebble Beach for now. Oh, I just found the mosquito. I put him away in the lavender. Supposedly, they don't like lavender. Supposedly, if you grow lots and lots of lavender, you'll have fewer mosquitoes. And I do grow a lot of lavender. And I must confess that since moving here, I have been lucky mosquito bite-wise. It hasn't been as because I sleep with my windows open all summer. Oh yes, Pebble Beach was the right decision. So I really did bend that head as I stamped it to get it to follow the, this is the great thing with rubber, is that it's bendy. So in that direction I'm going to go there. And then I'm going to take the tall head again. I think the middle one is the tallest. Am I on camera? I'm just kind of aiming at the pad so that I hopefully have just inked up the one side of that. Do I want a couple down here? I quite like to have one there, maybe. So I'll add that to there. And then I might sort of pretend there's one here. Let's go with you again. So yeah, that's nice. So I have got some soft greys in these pens here. I wonder if that's going to be an okay colour to use. That the right side. Yeah, turns out it's pretty much perfect. I said I was going to zoom in for one of these, didn't I? Let's do that. Pen is running out, sadly. That'll be because I've used the warm grey a lot, because I like grey. Have you noticed that I like grey? So into those, let's put a little bit of whatever colour this turquoisey thing is. Oh, that's quite a thick nib. That's an even thicker nib. I wonder what kind of mark making this does. Why won't the lid go back on? I've got a scrap bit of paper so I can try out. Oh, it's quite a fine. Actually, I was thinking maybe a thicker one would give us quite a nice. So a little bit of flicking. Yeah, there we go. That gives us quite a nice effect. So let's do some more of those heads kind of with a flick. And by varying the pressure of the pen, you can create different kinds of thicknesses of those flicks. Better to flick away from the stem, really. That's quite fun. That's quite fun. Still on camera, yep. That's quite fun. Now, I don't know that I want to use the thick end of the pen to draw the stems for these, because I think that's going to be quite full on. So let's switch to the fine end. And this supposedly should be the advantage, is that this should be the same colour. And one of the things about grass stems is that they tend to have those kinks in them. Little kinks. I mean, you can sort of see it in the gel printing that there are little notches. I'm going to add a little bit of detail at the heads of the. Yeah, that's good. Got enough stems. Might add a couple of just. Yeah, that's nice. A bit of background detailing. Yeah, good. Might, oh, just very lightly, because that gives us a bit more presence to the stroke. Just some kind of stems referred to in the background there. I'm wondering what just a little bit of soft colour on these flowers would look like. Maybe I've got Distressed Stormy Oxide. Oh, I noticed I haven't got my mat out. No worries, I can use an acrylic grid to put my ink down on. And where's a brush? There's a brush. So just a little bit of that stormy sky colour to just focus the eye on the flower heads. That's sort of what I was thinking about. So here's why I chose to stamp in Archival. Is that it does now give me the option to add just a bit of soft loose colour, and I know it's not going anywhere. So we're working on very cheap copy paper here, so it has grabbed that ink very strongly. Isn't it interesting how different that colour looks over the blue stamping than over the brown stamping? You really notice it's blue on these, whereas on this one it's It's got a sort of softer mauvey lilac, which the Stormy Sky Oxide really does have within it. It has lilac tones in a really beautiful way. Grand. What else have we got? There is going to need to be some white spattering going on soon. Do we want some insects, or do we just want some ephemera stamping on this one? I think we might go for another of these specimens things, because I do enjoy it. And I might try it in Pebble Beach. I don't know how well it's going to show up, but we'll give it a go. Maybe watering can would be better. Pebble Beach is quite subtle, as we saw on those flower heads. So let's take a full-on version, and I think we might go sideways at the bottom. Oh, that is very subliminal. Okay, well, what I could choose to do, if I'm quick about it and if I'm careful about it, is I could try to get some of my much loved quick. So this is Earthtone Pepper, but because I have just been using inks everywhere else, I'm going to try really to not hit the flower heads, but just hit the text. Should have done them one at a time, shouldn't I? Because I've now gonna have to go past at least a bit of flower head. There we go. That caught. Did we catch at the middle there? Not bad at all. So when I heat emboss that now, that is going to beef that up quite a lot. Make it present. Come on, in you go. In you go. Don't want to run out of Earthtone Pepper, because this is the one it's turned out to be hard to get hold of. Thank you again to all of you who thought of me with primary bark and brilliantly discovered that you could still get hold of some, and thought of me when you did so. Extremely kind. In the meantime, I had also managed to track down some primary bark, so now lots of us have got primary bark to play with, which is magic. Right, I'm going to heat emboss this, and I'll be back. So there we go, that's embossed. I'm just thinking about lightening up some of what's going on here with these very dark flecks. I'm going to see, oh hello, here comes the train. Anybody with sharp hearing? Well, I suppose first of all it's down to whether the microphone is picking it up, but the windows are now open upstairs, so you may be able to hear that. Some train drivers are very, very enthusiastic about how much noise they make. Others just go with the odd little toot toot, but sometimes they behave as though, I don't know, there's somebody on the tracks, which I suppose there may be, but there we are. So there is going to be some white spatter going on in a minute. You can probably already tell that I'm itching to get white spatterdom going. Yes, so I was talking about a white pen, wasn't I? White pens are, I think, for lots of us in the craft world, a sort of ongoing battle to find a consistently working white pen. Lots of people swear by the Posca paint pens, which is what I've got here, which sometimes works for me and sometimes doesn't. So there's a little bit of white paint coming out there, but I've probably spent more money on white pens over the years than on almost anything else. So you have to give them a shake, you have to give them a little dab, and you can see some white paint came out of there. It just doesn't want to come off the end of the nib, and whether that's because I've used it in too much of a mixed media fashion, and now the nib has just flooded that with paint. I mean, I sort of don't mind, because one of the things I'm trying to do here is reduce the amount of that dark green flicking that we did. But what I almost always end up doing is getting out a dip pen and some white ink and doing it that way, because the white pens that I've bought over the years work for a little while, and then they just stop being useful. So that's made a big difference though. So even just dipping into so that's what I do with the dip pen, really. Dipping into the ink that came out and is there, paint. I suppose if it's a Posca paint pen, it's paint. That's much better, much better. So now I'm thinking I'd quite like some more, same method, to add some little details in where we added colour over the top of these lavender heads. I just want a little bit of highlighting, which the white spatter is going to get me in a minute anyway, but I just want to give it a bit of detail like that. There we go. Okay. La la la. Where are we at? Got those, got those, got those. Do I want another little bit of stamping on here? Maybe just, do I want a bug? Maybe a bug. I told you I found the mosquito, didn't I? Hiding in the... Oh, maybe a little ant. I do like the little ant, but then he shouldn't float in the sky. Or maybe he can float in the sky. Maybe it's that. Where do I want him, though? Yeah, maybe there. Am I going to need the Earthtone Pepper again? Probably. Maybe we'll stamp him in... Well, let's stamp him in something radical, like night sky. Maybe he does want to be there then. Yeah, maybe we'll let him be a bit more prominent. Come on, my friend. Let's go night sky. With maybe a touch of grey running through right on the body. So I'm just aiming the edge of the ink pad just at the sort of centre of that stamp. That may or may not make a difference. And let's take the risk. Pop him in. He is our specimen after all. And I do like him, and I like him so much that I want him again. So the repeat stamping, it's my old friend, repetition and variation. Change the position, maybe change the colour slightly. But that repeated image is something that our eyes really enjoy. He does need to go over to the side. They enjoy the familiarity of it, but then being sort of tested to find it again. Great. Enjoying those. I'm thinking there might be some borders to put on. White spatter. What else have we got? Oh, we've got this one. Do love that. I do love that pretty much exactly as it is, in fact. Might not do very much to that. It would be nice to have something with a bit more detail down in the middle here where it was so... But maybe it's words on this one. Maybe that's what I need. What words have we got in the lavender? Maybe we have some healing and strength. Maybe just healing. Let's start with healing and see what that gets us. And I think it's going to be watering can again. That's not quite straight on the grid block. So the lovely grid block lines that enable you to stamp straight, I'm always forgetting to take advantage of. Don't really want it bang in the middle. Earthtone Pepper, quickly. On it goes. Let's hope. Yes, look, that's beefed that up already, even without the heating. I think on that one it might just be that simple. Sometimes less really is more. Good. I'm going to heat emboss that and I'll be back. Delicious. And yeah, the movement that nature has created there is enough for me. So there's one more of these green ones. Where is it hiding? Here we are. And I'm thinking this might be a question of another giant insect. So our giant insect was down left before. So can anybody guess where I'm going to put the large insect on this one? Question is which one? Is it him? I think it might be him. Is it this one? He's too much. That's probably quite nice. What have we got that could echo it in these ones? I think it's him and him probably. Okay, grand. So again, I'm going to want a little bit of masking tape down this side. I must remember not to press it down too hard because we know what happened last time. But we rescued it, so it's not a problem. This one is curling up nicely. That's deeply unhelpful. Will you fit on the sideways block? Just. Just. What colour? Grey. I seem to be in a... Okay, so if you're going that way... Ah, interesting, I've stamped you this way before, because look, he's only going that far across. Let's have some grey, and maybe let's zhuzh it up a little. I'm going to zhuzh it all the way to a... Oh no, maybe a touch of green. Just in those wings. Maybe we could touch a beach cruiser in those wings as well. I don't know. We'll see what we get. And let's pop him. There. Sort of aiming and not aiming at the flower heads behind. What have we got? Well, he's basically grey. It's fine. I like him. And then where's your partner in crime? Let's have you. You'll definitely fit on here. Are we going to bother putting all those different colours on? Maybe if we put them as the first layer, they'd end up being the top layer by the time the grey has gone over the top. No, I don't think that's a thing, because the ink layer is so thin. Either it shows or it doesn't. We'll be fine either way. And let's have him down here. Okay, let's go for careful peeling of the masking tape this time so we don't rip our printer paper. Good. And I think I want, rather than specimens on this one, I'm going to go postcard. So where's that? So we're just tying it all together now, the repetition and the variation, different elements from different stamp sets coming together. And I might, because I think that might be quite nice in Beach Cruiser, because I think the paint colour that these, which is a combination of, I don't know, it was various frescoes, wasn't it? Inky Pool, Bora Bora, those kinds of colours. Ooh, look, don't want postcard going over onto there. Good call. Get it right way up though. Slightly off centre, but all good. Let's take that away. Yeah, so that it just turns up on the print, not on the white border. And then I think we're going to do a sideways one down here. Yes, of course we are. Beach Cruiser. And yes, I was right. Beach Cruiser is toning in rather beautifully with the colour of the print behind. So you get that nice subtle effect. Simple stamping. Right, you know what needs to happen now. I urgently need some white spatter. There we go. Do you want spatter? I'm not convinced that you do. Interesting. I even don't want to spatter it, because you've got those lovely seed head shapes are already spatter. Let's do these first. Right, where's my almost empty snowflake? Where's my scabby spatter brush? And I have now dipped my brush in here so many times, all messy, that it almost doesn't need diluting. There we go. Little spat, because there's quite a lot, that's quite fluid. Let's go. Let's just do it. Oh, look at it appearing over the bud there. That's grand. It's going to make the biggest difference, obviously, to the darkest ones. So where I've got these dark turquoise tones, that's going to give us a lovely contrast. That's the one that really matters. There we go. Let's get you in there. And that mosquito is now hiding even more effectively behind the white spatter. Yeah, it's good, it's good, it's good. Let's do a little bit more on this one. And then let's just have a look at this while the paint is on the... I think it's going to happen, but in quite a subtle way. Let's just... Yeah, it's good. It's good. And it's particularly good. Okay, it's particularly good. White on white. Down in that little bit where there wasn't any detail. That has made a difference. Grand. Okay. So I'm going to have a little tidy up so that I can see what's what. see whether these want anything else doing to them, or we might just go straight for tidying up into, oh no, I've seen what it is. I know what it is. It's a little bit of Snowflake onto the mat. Paint it out so that I can use it as like a stamp pad, ink pad. And it's a little bit of bottle top stamping. That's what's wanted. A little bit of bubbly bottle top stamping, like we did the other day. Oh, perfect. That's good. Might come back in with a slightly smaller lid in a minute as well. This is the lid of one of the original distress stains before they were sprays. They came in little bottles, and I still have mine. Haven't used them up. Yeah, this can you see? It's just, to my eye, it's making all the difference in the world just to have that little bubble of happiness as an extra element. It makes less difference, obviously, on this very pale one. I've got a bit more paint on the brush here. Let's get it onto the mat. But it is still a presence, like the white spatter. It's a subtle presence, but it is still a presence. That's very happy making. Still not going to put one on there, I think. Right, so that's quite a big lid. Let's get a little bit more paint onto the mat and have a go with a little lid. What have we got that can play the role of the little lid? Oh look, there's Picket Fence Re-Inker. That's got a nice little lid. Again, paint it out on the mat so that I can use it as though I'm using a stamp pad. And now I've got nice little bubbles. Is that a treat or is that a treat? I love that. I love that. Sometimes it's the simple things that make us happy, right? That's scrumptious. And maybe I'm overdoing it, but I'm enjoying myself. That's the point of what we do here, isn't it? Is to have fun. And at the moment, this is making me happy, so I'm going to keep doing it. And it's not about the end result. It's about what happens in the moment being a thing that gives us some kind of joy or some kind of response. I want to have a response to the thing that's happening on the mat. I want to enjoy the moment of discovery. And sometimes it's a discovery that, oh, I shouldn't have done that, because now I've covered up something else that was giving me joy. But it's very rare to have an I shouldn't have done that for me, because really it wants to be about accepting. I'm not going to second guess a thing. If I've done it, I'm going to trust that my fingers knew what they were doing. I feel like there's one that hasn't had the small lid treatment. You've got a small lid, 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 you've got a small lid. Okay, grand. So let's just clean that up. And now I am going to tidy up, because I think I've now done the thing that I thought might need doing, that I was going to look at them to see whether anything else needed doing. So I'm going to clean up almost all the way to the close-ups, so that we can just take a little look, see whether we're done. So I'm just looking at these and wondering whether I want some doodled framing, or maybe I want some words on the bottom, or maybe maybe I want word stickers. Certainly don't want it on there. We've got healing. But I'm starting to think that maybe it's on a case-by-case basis. So depending on whether I might want to use it as a card topper, highly unlikely, whether I might want to trim it down into a tag, whether I might want to take the bottoms off so that it can just be a panel in an art journal. I mean, that one, for instance, I'm thinking maybe wants to just be something very, very simple, in which case, do I want this bit at the bottom, or do I just want some simple framing? That's kind of where I'm at the moment, is not being sure. You see, and if I were to use them in a page like this, I mean, this is coming on to an episode I'm planning shortly, so I'm thinking it might be something like that. Oh, yes. So watch this space, because one of the things I'm planning for an upcoming few minutes of fun is I've had loads of stuff hanging around for ages that needs putting into here. This is the one I showed you the other day that has got the leafy real leaves and so on and so forth. So it makes sense to have real plant gel prints maybe joining it. And I've got a load of other stuff that's been waiting to go into it. So I'm thinking of having just a big gluing session for a few minutes of fun at some point. And I think I might just have discovered what these may want to do at that point. So I'm not going to faff with them any further now. I'm going to dive in for a close-up so that you can have a look at some of these layers and details. And I thank you once again for your company. I'll try to link to anything relevant down below and leave a list of ingredients that we've used today. Thank you so much, as always, for your comments and interactions. Look, lovely messy fingers, always the sign of a good time. It's a joy to have your company on this creative journey. And yeah, for those who've been supporting me with cups of coffee, thank you so much. It's a huge joy to me that you want to express your support and appreciation of what I'm providing here, and those of you who've decided to be members and are gold or silver or bronze. I hope you're enjoying the little extra bonuses. We've just had the springtime live Q&A for silver and gold supporters. Gold supporters have had a little sneak peek behind the scenes at the stamp creating and designing process. And there are regular monthly articles for all three, bronze, silver and gold. You get the monthly articles, little extra thoughts about what's going on in my creative brain. But also the one-off cups of coffee make a profound difference to me being able to continue sharing this lovely creative journey with you. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I don't want to be mentioning it all the time, so here's an occasional mention of the Buy Me a Coffee page. You can find that link down below, always in every video as well. And if you have enjoyed what's going on here and would like to just buy me a little cup of coffee, obviously that would make me very happy. Thanks so much for your company, and happy crafting all.